Welcome back to another video. I hope you're all keeping safe and well. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Paços de Ferreira 0. Tottenham Hotspur are now in the group stages of the Europa Conference League. I've got three fantastic guests to talk about tonight's game. I've got Gary, I've got Craig, and I've got Gareth. Welcome back to the show, guys. Gary, let's start with you. What did you think of today's game?
Oh, I loved it. It was a good game. Look, I'm not going to get carried away. You know, it's Ferrero Rocher, it's Europa Conference. But Paco Rabanne, whatever you want to call them. But listen, at the end of the day, it was a great performance, you know. And I had no doubt in the boys. I knew in the second leg they put out a stronger team. You know, to be honest with you, I was a bit worried when I saw Winks and Ben Davies, but they had a good game. I can't really knock them. But good game. There was good support there. Craig, I know you was at the game as well as Chris. And you know what? There was a lot more fans than what I expected. Because I think the fans are very kind of like, you know, sided with this Europa Conference. As we spoke about before, me personally, I want us to go for it and win a trophy. But a lot of fans are kind of mixed. But good game, good crowd, good result, happy days. And I didn't get a parking ticket again, so that's a bonus.
Gary, you say that about the fans being mixed. I feel personally that it is very, very important that we do have some kind of European football this season, and I'm absolutely delighted that we're through to the group stage. Are you?
Oh, 100%. Listen. I said before, we're in Europe. We've got to make the most of it. You know, it's not just about finishing above Arsenal. You know, we made Europe, whatever it may be. You know, beggars can't be choosers, like I said on the last show. At the end of the day, Europa Conference is what we're in. And could you imagine if he had put out a similar team to last week and we had gone out tonight? You wouldn't hear the end of it. So we have to take it seriously. You know, look, if we go all the way and we win this trophy, you're going to have people saying, oh, it's a third-tier trophy, this and that. Still a European Cup. You know, we've not won anything since 2008, the Carabao. I'll take it. You know, it's time for a trophy. And what better trophy than this? I think we should really be setting our sights on this, more so than the Carabao or the FA Cup. That's just my personal opinion.
Yeah, before I come to Craig, I just want to apologise to all of the viewers. I've literally just got home. You've just seen I've just taken my coat off. Just got home from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Gary and Craig have beat me home. But Craig, let's come to you. What do you think of today's performance?
Yeah, you know, let's not get carried away. I just think it was a professional performance, wasn't it? I think we just got the job done. For me, I didn't think we looked like we got out of third gear, and that's not them being lazy. I just don't think we needed to tonight. There was a couple of moments where we had a few scares, but they didn't really produce much to worry us at all. Galini had a bit of a mishap in the first half. It was right down the other end, but he seemed almost like to do a drag back to me and conceded a corner. That could have gone a bit awry, but you know, these things happen, and it was just a professional job. We got the job done. Kane got a couple of goals. I mean, it was pretty much a perfect night, really. We got through, which was the main thing, you know, and the performance wasn't bad. It's not like we scraped through. We done okay. Let's not get carried away, but we're in the hat, and that's all you can ask for.
Do you know what, Craig? I spoke to you last Thursday. Of course, I was in Portugal watching the game. We lost the game 1-0. Did you expect Nuno Espirito Santo to make as many changes tonight to go through?
Yeah, because it was important, as Gary said, it was important we went through. He needed to put in a few more regulars tonight, just to ensure that we had enough out there to see him off tonight. So it was, you know, it was good anyway that Harry got a few more minutes in his legs. We know he's a fit lad, but I think it was good for him. I think he needed to get that from the fans again, to get the fans back on side. And you know, you guys were there. You saw the reception he got, and his goals were at the end. I was right behind that goal, and you know, the crowd were just so loud, and it was so good. You could see on his face he was so happy to score again for Tottenham. And you know, whatever's gone on in the past, whether we get into it again about Harry Kane, perhaps we should put it to bed. What's he put there? Saw Gary what?
Saw Gary deodораting his back as he hopped out of a Range Rover on the high road. Yeah, Chris. Sorry, Craig, to butt in. Very quickly, right. I was getting out of my car and he goes, I know you. You're that bloke who's always on the Chris Cowlin show. Are you going to wear your dressing gown tonight? Honestly, Chris, I'm not quite as famous as you on YouTube, but it's not far off now. I'm getting recognised for being on your show, so that's saying something.
Do you know what was fun? Do you know what was funny? My son then, he asked me, he said, "Where does Chris Cowling sit?" I said, "Oh, he sits up there in the West Stand somewhere." And everybody who was within earshot turned around and looked up in the West Stand, I think, to see if they could see Chris. It was like having Don Paratici. It was like Don Chris Cowling up there. Everybody was looking round. But no, going back to the game, it was just a professional performance. We got the win, and we were in the hat for the next round. And let's hope we get some favourable teams in the hat when we go into the draw. Is it tomorrow?
It's tomorrow.
The draw. Yeah, so that'll be good. Let's see who we get.
Gareth, sorry for keeping you waiting so long. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well. What did you make of tonight's game?
I think just what the boys said, it was efficient. You know, we didn't really get out of first gear. For the first half, if anything, we were better. We started well. Harry was a class above. Thought even he's not played that many games, but you'd see he controlled the game. He was pinging passes from left, right, and centre. It was basically everything that Spurs did well. He was at the end of it, as well as seen the comment there about Hill. I thought Brian Hill looked good at times as well, and he's a raw talent, but he's going to take time. You can see with him. It's going to be an exciting player and a fan's favourite. But Gary's right about the competition. We can't win. You know, if we win this competition, it's going to be a third tier competition. If we lose, we're going to be laughed at. So we can't really win. So at the end, you just want to go. You want to win every game on it. And if we go and they win it, I'd much rather take the flag if we go and they win it than take the flag if we don't win it.
Exactly.
Definitely.
So that's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you feel. But
do you know what though, Gareth? Gareth, what I was going to say is Gary said earlier about the fans are very mixed, but Nuno Espirito Santo chose a very strong starting 11 tonight to get the job done. He clearly wanted to go through to the group stages, didn't he?
Yeah, I think what you're going to see a lot in this competition is he's probably going to be able to field stronger teams in the home games, because he's not going to have. I think in the away games, especially in the group stage, you're going to see a young team travelling out. I think you see with the first game, none of the starting 11 from the Man City game travelled out, and I think you'll see now with Kane coming back in, and you know there's obviously a couple more players to come in. Romero's obviously been signed to be a starter, not a squad player. So you're going to have the guts of 14 or 15 players, and I'd be surprised if any of them played in the 3 away games. I do think that he'll take his chances at the 1 to 3 home games, and maybe pick up one of the results away from home with one of the younger teams. I can't see him risking injuries, or I can't see him risking him disrupting the league season, because the league is going to be the priority. And you would think that we'll be able to manage the group campaign with one in the home games and being able to send a few of the younger lads out to the away games. That's the way I feel it'll go. I think you'll see a similar team to the away game against Paços as you will for the next 3 away games in the group.
Gareth, you haven't been on this channel for a while. Just want your opinion on the actual competition. Is it a competition that you think Tottenham should take seriously?
100%. Hey, we're on this. They won it. You know, there's no competition you turn your nose up at. We've obviously, we finished 7th. Usually it will be a Europa League spot with this new competition. It's sent us into this, and no, I feel that obviously the reward's not that great in terms of you only get into the Europa League if you want it. But it is a European trophy, and as Gary said, it's the best opportunity to end a 13 or 14 year wait for a trophy.
Yeah.
Gary, let's come to you. Let's talk about the starting 11, because I was very, very pleased when I saw this starting 11 an hour before kickoff. Golini in goal, Doherty, Romero, Dyer, Davis, Lo Celso, Winks, Brian Hill, Lucas Moura, Harry Kane, and Ryan Sessegnon. Now, of course, the big news tonight was Harry Kane starting the game. And not only starting, named as captain.
Yeah, do you know what? And what a start it was, almost. How quick would that goal have been? Was it like 15 seconds? I mean, I thought that was in. You was behind that goal, Craig, was you?
Yeah, literally.
I mean, where I was on the sideline, and I thought he'd scored that. But do you know what? It just, I kind of like it because, you know, it's quieting down Sky. I was driving back listening to Talk Sport, and I think there's a lot of unhappy pundits that Harry Kane has stayed for at least another year. But do you know what? I think Nuno making him captain and starting him in this game is a real message. And I loved it. And I don't really care what people say about the Europa Conference. And, Kane wanted to leave, but he stayed and he's been made to stay. It's just all haters. I'm not interested in any of that. All I care about is We put out a good team. Harry Kane was made captain, and he scored 2 goals. And what did I say to you, Chris? It'd be 3-0 and Kane would get 2. I said, so far I've got 100% record.
Yeah, I also saw Gary down the high road in his Range Rover, showing off. So yes, he did say that.
Yeah, I was pleased. I was pleased that Kane started. I didn't think he'd start. I thought he'd come on second half, midway through. But he started him, and he brought Son on 70th minute, and I thought that might have been what he did with Kane to get the applause and stuff. But I think it was perfect what he did in making him captain. I think it was a real statement, and fair play to Nuno, because I think he's handled these last few weeks immensely. I think he's been brilliant. I mean, could you imagine Jose Mourinho trying to deal with all of that? He just hasn't got the calmness in Nuno, has he? So brilliant. Really pleased. Really pleased.
Craig, let's come on to you. Like Gary says there, full credit to Nuno Espirito Santo, and I absolutely love the lineup that he put out tonight. It's been a very, very good month for Tottenham Hotspur, really, hasn't it? Because when you think about, take away the game last week against Paços de Ferreira, we have now kept 3 clean sheets. 3-0 tonight, 1-0 against City, 1-0 against Wolves, and we keep saying about we need defensive reinforcements. It's looking pretty decent, isn't it, this month?
It is. It is. Dyer looks quite confident, actually, I noticed tonight. There was a certain calmness about him. And yeah, you got to look at the opposition, but you can only play what's put in front of you, and, all them old cliches. But he just looked a bit calmer. And I tell you what, Romero, after a bit of a dodgy game last week, there were certain moments tonight. I thought, yeah, do you know what? We've got a real player on our hands here. Do you know what I mean? There was one moment, I think, Gary, you might have seen it better than I did. He burst through in the first half and he got a yellow card. I didn't actually see what happened.
I watched the replay. It was never a foul. He actually won the ball.
It was never a yellow card, was it?
Did he?
The player kicked Romero. It should have been clean through. It was a foul. I think it was a foul our way.
The player
was right through.
He knew he was clean through. He was right through. So he just took a bet and dived over and rolled, and they did a lot of that tonight, didn't they? But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But he had a great game, an absolute great game.
He did, and with Tanganga, he's playing well. Reguilon's playing well. Be interesting to see. I quickly watched your video, Chris. Apparently, Aurier, Sissoko and Ndombele all could be out of the door this week, which you think if they don't want to be there, let's move them on. Yeah. That'll be very interesting to see if we go in for Tomiyasu or whoever, another right back, because obviously we've got Doherty, we've got Tanganga. So is Nuno going to think we've got enough at the back now? Personally, I still think we need something else. I don't know whether that be another centre back or a right back or one that like Tomiyasu that can play in both positions. I'd be a lot happier if we got one more defender in. Yeah. Sanchez has been playing well, to be fair to him. So, credit where credit's due. But for me, I know it's a 50-50 split, seems to be amongst the supporters. I would like to see Troy Aurier come in. I just think he causes so many problems. Yes, he's final third, but who the best, if you're going to learn from somebody, why not learn from Harry Kane, one of the best in the business, and let him take defenders away and leave space for Kane and so on. I think it'd be a great acquisition. I've said on here many times, you can't mark pace. No, you can't mark pace, but he's got to improve his shooting, but let him do what he does. I'd love to have him in Tottenham, and perhaps a creative midfielder. I'm still not convinced Lo Celso does that job.
There's been a few developments since he's been at the game. So, Chris, I don't know if you know about it. There's been a bit of talk about Sissoko going to Watford, and there's a boy at Barcelona they mentioned as well. It's all over Twitter at the moment. So,
really?
There's a lot of transfer news happening at the moment. We will come on to transfers towards the end of the video. Let's talk about the game first. Gareth, let's come to you. The starting 11, you happy with that?
I did expect a strong team. I know we've had loads of discussions about Harry Winks, and none of us are massive fans of Winks, but in them type of games, you always think it's like false hope. He has great games against that level of team, and you think, oh, maybe he's coming back. But no, he is going to be useful for that competition. I don't want to see him anywhere near the Premier League teams, but in that competition, especially in the group stage, I don't really see the harm in playing him because he'll just move the ball. He'll get loads of time. You get loads of time and space. You see in the Premier League when it's a fast pace, he makes a lot of mistakes. He gives the ball away. He gets caught in possession. And them type of games where them teams just sit back, it's very compact. He almost cruises around the pitch and he gets it handy. Like, so, no, I have no issues with the team. Sessegnon, I was very happy they see him back on the team as well. And you know what? I've seen a lot of fans on Twitter tonight saying they were disappointed with him, but this lad's confidence has been destroyed by, we all love Pochettino, but he was injured. But when Pochettino came on, Pochettino moved on. Mourinho never really gave him a chance. He was sent out on loan. He did really well in Germany. So he needs to get a run of games. He's never really had a run of games. So I'm hoping this competition now will give him that opportunity because there is a player in Sessegnon. It was big things at Fulham. He was talked about massively. And when he came on, I was very excited. So hopefully he can produce some of that form at Fulham and work his way into the Premier League squad. And obviously the star of the show tonight, apart from Harry Kane, I thought was Brian Hill. Some of the things he was doing, you can see he's a raw talent, as I said before. But give him games, he's gonna be scary. And once he buffs out a bit physically, because you can see he's a light frame, but we have a real player in our hands, I think, with him. And the rest of the team, obviously Romero coming on, as Craig said, he looks very strong, quick. He looks on the ball. Doherty, he was okay, but again, I think he's going to be used in that conference league. So he's going to be. I think a lot of them players we've seen in their squad players minus 3 or 4 of them. So I'm not going to be too critical, on their performances on that because as long as the main players are performing in the Premier League, we really shouldn't see the likes of Doherty and the likes of Davis and the likes of Harry Winks.
Gary, let's come to you now. In the first minute, Harry Kane could have scored. In the 7th minute, Giovanni Lo Celso shot over. In the 9th minute, the first goal come for Harry Kane. Great assist from Brian Hill. And as Gareth said there, I thought Brian Hill had a fantastic game tonight and showing us Tottenham Hotspur fans what we are going to be looking forward to in seeing him in a Spurs shirt.
Yeah, he loves it. What I love about him, his head's always up. He's running forward. He was just up for it. He's not one of them players that hides. You know what I mean? He was amazing. Still don't understand why he got booked. I found that very bizarre. But sometimes when you're at it and you're that type of player, you get a little bit too much attention from the ref. And I think he had an absolute blinder. I thought Romero was very good. But like what Gareth said, we can't get too excited because it's going to be a very different game to Watford. Well, I don't think it'll be massively different game to Watford, if I'm honest with you. But certainly we play some of the big guns. The likes of Winks and Doherty, they're going to come on with maybe 5-10 minutes to go. But Brian Gill or Brian Hill, however you want to pronounce him, for me, he probably was man of the match tonight. Had a great game. But I also do think Romero was really good and getting stuck in and was good vision. I was really pleased with both of them. But I know we're going to keep saying it. It is only Paco Rabanne for a Rocher, but you can only beat the team that's in front of you. And it was a solid performance. And I do think, Gareth is right. Look, Winks and Doherty get quite a lot of stick. And I think some of it is fair. And like what you said, in these type of games, they will have a better game. But I still think Brian Gill and Romero were miles ahead of them in that game tonight.
I think Doherty and Winks, that's their level. I think just that's their level.
That's their level.
And them
two guys, they've hardly played for Tottenham and they already looked like Tottenham boys. They looked so comfortable. So for me, they can only improve, for me personally. So, yeah, excited. It's good.
Gary, let's come back to you. Tommy writes on the screen now, my first night at the New Lane, Harry Kane reception, unreal. Did you expect Harry Kane's reception to be that good tonight?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I like I said, I thought he'd probably come on in the 60th minute and he'd get the reception in. But Harry Kane's always going to get the reception. Look, I know there's always going to be a few fans that are like, they say they don't forgive him, but once Kane starts banging the goals in, that's all forgotten about. He's back on the Christmas list. He's getting a Christmas card. We're standing up. We're singing he's one of our own. And we just move on because that's football at the end of the day, It is what it is, isn't it? If he keeps scoring the goals in the Premier League and the Europa Conference and wherever else, the fans will soon forget.
Craig, let's come to you. Of course, Tottenham's first goal come after 9 minutes. Harry Kane. It just had to be Harry Kane to score, didn't it? You know, after his announcement yesterday, it just had to be Harry Kane.
Yeah, absolutely. It was always going to be in. And that one Gary said about in the first 20 seconds.
God.
That was literally right opposite where I was sitting.
Yeah.
And I think he slipped right at the last moment, or it was on the up. He just couldn't keep it down. I mean, it was like I didn't even realise it kicked off almost because we were chatting and they're starting, and then wow, hang on, where'd that come from?
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, I mean, that would have been unbelievable. You know, first start back after all the summer and that. But do you know what? I actually knew they weren't going to have a particularly good game today because they were warming up down the end. I was sitting, and one of their players, he hit this ball. And we was right behind the goal, and you know it says right where you sit, beware flying footballs, and so you have to keep your wits about you. And this one of their players hit this shot, and you know as the fans do, we all went heads up, and there was this fella sitting minding his own business, not even looking, which is you can't do that, and it hit him there. It went smack, and this geezer, and he went bang. It was like he'd been hit by a Rocky Balboa punch, right? And not one steward come over and see if he was all right. And we was all asking him, and he weren't a young chap, but he was like, he just went, oh God, he shook it off. But I tell you, it must have hurt. And then just as they was ending, a geezer a few chairs down from me, he hit him in the head as well, and his head went back, and he's looking around on the floor. He's lost a diamond out of his earring. So if anybody's ever in the Paxton Road end, there's a diamond somewhere in the Paxton Road end, about row 7. So I don't even know.
I thought they would have been
zirconia, but
I thought they'd have been used to that, didn't we? Craig was a Soko shooting. He
God,
well, that's,
you know what? Honestly, Gav, I just about to say, you sure the Soko didn't come on to take a picture?
No.
Honestly,
don't normally go out the stadium, not in row 7.
Yeah, it was, but this one was well wide. I mean, I've actually caught one from Christian Eriksen when he was practicing a free kick, and it was flying. I actually caught it, and he actually apologised. That was my claim to fame, that Christian Eriksen apologised to me, and I threw the ball back to him. Going back to Harry Kane, fantastic to see him on the score sheet. Honestly, most of the fans around me, there was not one dissenting voice. They were all on their feet. They was all singing "He's one of our own" and all this. There was not one person booing. I had a message from a friend halfway through the game. He said, "Can I hear people booing Kane?" I said, "No, I think they're saying shoot."
Yeah,
so yeah, he's back. Let's face it, he's back. He's part of Tottenham.
Yeah,
we'll get into it, I'm sure, but he's with us for the season, and let's hope he can help fire us up that league as far as we can get, and that he won't even want to leave next year.
Yeah, absolutely. Kenneth writes on screen now. Big up, Chris. Keep up the good work. Don't forget every Saturday stadium building. I tell you what, the amount of people that come up to me tonight, thanking me for stadium updates, you know, like all those years ago, incredible. So thank you so much for all of that feedback. Ben Foster has written a comment. I don't know whether this is the real Ben Foster. Keep up the hard work, fellas. Thank you very much. Tom writes on screen now. Gareth, let's come to you. Our defence looks so much better. I'm so sure that Sanchez and Romero can work together. Reguilon left back, Tanganga right back. We have lots of options going forward now. Now, as Craig just said there seems to be a lot of positivity at the moment, Gareth. You know, in August, it's been a good first month for Nuno Espirito Santo. I know we can't get carried away as yet, but we have beat the champions Manchester City at home. We have beat Wolves away. We are now through to the group stage of the Europa Conference League. Can we feel that a little bit more confident? Because, of course, the last 18 months or so has been pretty grim, hasn't it?
Well, how many funerals have we had on here? You know, it's been we had so many bad days, but it does seem to be that it is turning around. But the one good thing I would say about it is that despite these positive results, it doesn't look like the club's finished in the transfer window. They're definitely trying to bring more in. Which is how many times we started the season before? Like, remember that season we didn't sign a player. We won our first 3 games against, was it Fulham, Newcastle, and Man United, and then we ended up losing the next game after the transfer window closed against Watford. So again, it can change very quickly. So it definitely looks like they're not being distracted by the good results in the Premier League. They're still Paratici. It does seem like the type of person that's not going to stop until 11 o'clock on Sunday night. He's going to keep trying to get players on. which is really, really positive. And as Craig was saying about the defence, Romero, he just looks so physical and he just wants to get stuck in. And it's the type of defender that we've been missing for a long time. It is very early in his career. But you see tonight, every time a ball went under the striker, he was straight on. I mean, one of the comments here from Craig, he was saying that he was bombing forward quite a lot. But I think that was just because of the game was over and it was quite, in that sort of cruise control mode that he didn't have that much responsibility defensively. And I do think in a Premier League game, he would be a bit more reserved. But I thought it was a very positive performance. And as you were saying there about Sanchez, he would have been one of the first out the door, I thought, in the summer. But he started the season so strong. Does he get another chance now? And it's looking like he is going to get another chance. I think if a centre-back comes in, it'll be because they just want to strengthen that area. Tanganga's there, but it looks like Tanganga's going to be used as a right-back. We've still got Joe Rodon there as well. Who I thought did really well at the Euros, and apart from that game against Liverpool where he made a mistake, I thought he'd done all right last season after only coming in. So no, there's definitely I definitely feel we've got a stronger squad this year. There's a bit of talk about Tommy Ashley if he's going to come in. We've been linked with him all window. I do think we'll sign at least one more defensive player before the window shuts, but it might well rely on Aurier moving on. Who obviously the club want to move on, and he obviously wants to leave himself. So I think that'll depend on that, and vice versa in midfield if we bring somebody else in as well. But no, positivity, and as we said, just don't get carried away because we do have a game on Sunday, and it would just be like Spurs going to international break after all this positivity, and knock you 3 points on Sunday.
I love it. Craig and Gareth are itching to talk about transfers. Of course, there is 4 and a bit days left of this transfer window. Who will we sell and who will we buy? Gary, let's come back to you. Now, I want to talk about Brian Hill. How special was he tonight? He looks an absolute baller, doesn't he?
Oh, God, I loved it. Honestly, I was thinking I haven't got a chant for him yet. Like, we've got to work out a song. I was trying to get a song going with all the fans, but I think he's going to just be a really good player for Tottenham. Yes, it's only your Conference League. The team, it's not the best team. We know all these things, but at the end of the day, you've still got to be able to perform on the pitch and be aggressive and get into areas and stuff. And he did all of that. And he was clean through, really. I mean, I think he probably would have got a goal only that play and started rolling around because he knew he had taken him and he was gone, wasn't he? So, but a very, very positive performance from him. Like I said, his head was always up. He was attacking. He was just in the box, going for it. I mean, I was just thinking to myself, this guy is a madman. I love it. So, mate, continue. And do you know what? I think against Watford, it will be a good result. It will be positive. We will get a win there. And we'll see a similar game like we did tonight. It's the other sides are going to be tough. Yes, when we get Chelsea at home coming up and ones like that. But I'll tell you what, that Brian Hill, he looks really good. I'm really, really pleased with him after tonight's performance. Really pleased. So, yeah, one for the future, or if not now. So,
Craig, let's come to you. We've got Watford, of course, next, which we will preview later on in the video. But Brian Hill, has he done enough tonight to get a starting place in the Watford game?
I think he's knocking on the door, isn't he? I mean, what I like about him is he was trying things. I love players that try things. There's a time and a place to be safe. You've got, we all said about Harry Winks. He's a safe player, isn't he? Brian Hill is obviously a different player. I mean, I was a bit surprised to see where he started the game. I think he'd be good on the wing cutting in, to be honest, because he seems to be able to use either foot as well. But let's face it, I think anywhere across there in the attacking third of the pitch, he's going to cause any team problems because he's got such quick feet. When you see it up close, he's like Gary said, he's always got his head up. And I come back to it. He tries things. He makes things happen.
Yeah.
He's the sort of player I can see, like a Ginola. Do you remember Ginola when he was at the lane? Obviously running with the ball, he gets people off the seat. And, when Gareth Bale was around the first time, he just got people off their seats. And it's like, he's a player that can make things happen. And I think that's the kind of player he's going to be for us. He's going to make things happen. And, I think he's knocking on the door. Whether Nuno will start him.
It's funny, Craig, you say Ginola because he's got a bit of a similar look to Ginola, isn't he, with his hair and his nose.
With the hair.
He's like a David Ginola, isn't he?
Yes, but do you know, and I've said it on here before, who he does remind me of, his quick feet, his stature, his build, everything about him is Messi. Now, I'm not saying he's Lionel Messi in his class yet or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying the way he plays, when you watch him play,
very confident.
Very, very, tricky, ball always close to him. He's not one of these, like Bale was, he could dribble the ball, but he was so fast, he just used to knock it and run. Usually past Michael, or whatever the fella's name was. Actually, he retired him that night, didn't he? Over those 2 games. But he's very close control, very tricky little player. I think he's going to be a big player in years to come, and hopefully this season. Who knows?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. Gareth, let's come to you. One player that really impressed me tonight, and we don't see an awful lot of creativity from him in recent times, and that is Giovanni Lo Celso. I thought he was great tonight.
Yeah,
I agree. I think there's, again, like I say, although we've seen a lot more of Lo Celso, there's a player in Lo Celso. You can see he's got that first touch. I think Lo Celso in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the game, if he's going to play well, is either very, very good or he has a very poor game because he can give the ball away a lot. But I do think with Lo Celso, they just have to be patient because I do think there's a player in him, and hopefully we see it more this season. But the problem with Lo Celso was it's finding his position. He's never going to play in the Premier League in a 2 and a holding midfield. He's never going to play there, so he's obviously going to be fighting for that number 10 role. And it does seem that Nuno favours Dele Alli at the minute. And then if Hull comes in, he can play anywhere across that forward line or in the middle. How he fits him in. But for me, I would like to see Lo Celso be given a lot more game time this year. Because it does try to make things happen as well. I think a lot of the times with Dele, he can play safe, he can slow it down. And not to criticise Dele because he's had a good start to the season. I'm a big fan of him, but I do like Lo Celso's intensity. And I do think it can give us the extra dimension if he hits top form this season, because you've seen him for Argentina in the Euros. He was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Gareth, what do you think the real difference was tonight compared to last week? Because when you think about last week's performance, all 11 players, they didn't really seem to take their opportunities. And there were a number of players that started the game last week where they don't get much game time. They're perhaps fringe players is probably a better term to use. And they didn't really take their chances last week.
That is right, but there was a lot of young players in that team as well, and what you're going to get with a lot of young players is a lot of inconsistencies. And it's their first game in a European competition, probably nervous, and it was a team that never really played together a lot, so there wasn't going to be much chemistry. Although Wingstad played in that game and was poor, Lo Celso played in that game and was poor, so I don't know, maybe just and what you find in Europe is a lot of these teams away from home they're stronger at home and just don't seem to play well away from home. I never thought in any danger tonight, even when kickoff, we were going to lose the game or go out in the tie. I always thought it would be comfortable. And when you looked at that game tonight, it's hard to believe we lost last week 1-0, despite the young players that played. Don't know, maybe just a week further on the season, Chris. A few of them players being a bit fresher, being a bit fitter, and the crowd being at home as well probably drove them on, because I did think for being a Conference League game, it was still quite a good atmosphere. I know these lads were at the game, but I was watching it on TV, and it did seem like maybe because of Harry Kane playing, it did seem to lift the players.
I've got to admit, Gareth, I was at the game last week in Portugal, and they've got a capacity there of 9,000. And when I walked into that stadium, it was just like, okay. And I tell you what, if I was one of those players tonight walking in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the difference in the stadiums is just incredible. So
I agree. But the problem's going to be is when we play these 3 away group games in the group, whoever we get is probably going to be similar stadiums, and we're probably going to have similar lineups to play against Paços. So we're going to have to find a way of at least getting draws in them games. I'm not going to be too harsh on some of the young players, because if you bring 1 or 2 young players on, it's a challenge. But if you're bringing 4, maybe 5 young players onto a team, it's going to be difficult for them. I've seen it myself through coaching. If under 18s playing a first team game, 1 or 2 can be tough. But if you 4 or 5 in there, and we're just talking about Sunday League level, it can be very tough. So never mind European level.
Do you think then, Gareth, during the group stage, do you think that Nuno Espirito Santo will make that many changes again? Because, of course, it was 11 changes. It was a completely different team that beat Manchester City the weekend before. Do you think he will do that again?
It's hard to know. I think in the home games, you'll definitely see stronger teams, as I said, because I think they're going to be near the stadium. They're going to be at it. If they're not playing, they're going to be watching the game anyway. So and you're going to have UEFA, you're allowed 12 subs on the bench. So you're going to have a license to bring most of the first teamers there on the bench if needs be. But going away from home, as the first, it depends. And I was looking at who we're playing in them games. So we've got Chelsea the week before the first game. So if that's an away game, I can't imagine them sending too many of the first teams out there wherever we're going if it's an away game. If we've got Chelsea on the Sunday, I think a lot of it will come down to that. Whether he gambles on the young players will probably tell you how much trust he has in them, or how much he believes in the competition. Whether he believes it, Levy, he made a conversation with Daniel Levy, and I do think that Nuno will be given at least 2 years. But priority this season will definitely be top 6 at a minimum. So I do think the league will take priority. And you will see a lot of fringe players playing in the Conference League, especially away from home, as I said, and a few of the young lads coming in. Like you seen Scarlett last week, struggled physically. Not just we know the boys got talent, but just physically against older players. You have to remember a lot of these boys are 17, 18, 19 playing against grown men. Regardless of the level, it's going to be tough for these lads, especially if there's 4 or 5 of them brought into the same team.
Gary, let's come on to you. Tom very kindly writes a super chat here. Lo Celso is clearly talented. Is he a number 10 or a deep-lying midfielder? Need to find his best role. For you, what is Giovanni Lo Celso's best position?
Oh, do you know what? I like him when he's in midfield and he's kind of like sort of just coming through, finding little pockets, cutting in and stuff. But I don't really know what his best position is. I just think...
Is that the problem? I don't think any of us do.
No, but you can tell he's a technically gifted player. You can see there's a player in there with Lo Celso. And what I do like about him is he does win a lot of free kicks. The way he turns his body and moves, and he's tricky with the ball. Players can't help but foul him, and you need that. Do you know what I mean? You need that where you get into them positions, you're chopping free kicks in. I mean, did that in the 70th minute, did that goal go down to him or an own goal?
Own goal.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got to, it was pretty much his goal because the angle, what he shot at, it must have had a slight deflection, yeah?
Yeah, he works hard. Like, that is the thing. The fans will love him because he works hard. He really tries.
He does give it his all. And I think, last week is a difficult game to really judge him because, as we spoke about, we had a lot of reserves and kids in there. And what you touched on, Dane Scarlett, Gareth, I think you're 100% right. But there was just no service for Dane Scarlett last week. There was nothing. You put like Winks in that team tonight and Lo Celso, and automatically they're better players because of the players around him. And you got to think we didn't even have Skip or Reguilon or anyone. Do you know what I mean? And it was such a good performance because we had some of, not even you'd say all the first team players, but just better players. And that makes the difference. And I think when you've got a stronger side out, I think Lo Celso. But do you know what, Chris? It's a tough one with Lo Celso because I do like him, but where do you put him? I don't know. I really don't know. But I do think he's worth being in the team. He's not going to start every game, I don't think. But listen, we're going to be in 4 or 5 competitions. We're going to need to rotate and we're going to need all them players. And if he's looking good when he does come on or does start, then, it's a positive, isn't it?
Gary, we spoke about the starting 11 last week, and of course it was a completely changed starting 11 from the team that beat Manchester City the previous weekend. And I was very surprised inside the stadium tonight to see the likes of Heung-min Son come on, Stephen Bergwijn, Dele Alli, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, first teamers coming on as subs, 4 subs, first teamers coming on in that game. Did that surprise you?
Well, I've got to be honest, I called it with Son. I said Son will come on with 20 minutes to go, and he did. And I just thought, Nuno looked at that and thought, do you know what? Son will have a field day here. And I think that's why. And then Son nearly got a couple of goals in that game. So I think that, I think it was such a convincing performance by Tottenham tonight. He just thought, do you know what? I let Son have a run out and enjoy himself for 20 minutes. And I do have to say, Bergwijn played good today. He really did look good. He almost scored. I'm gutted because I know he got one in pre-season friendly, but he needs to get a goal in the Premier League or in a proper cup competition. But he's looking more convincing and more positive. And I think we all saw what he did on the sideline. And when you're doing little tricks and flicks like that, that's a confidence thing. And I don't think you ever would have done anything like that under Mourinho. Yes, I know it's not a goal, but playing like the way he did and the strength that he's got, and he did almost score. I'm really positive with him, and I think there is a player in there with him as well, because he started so well, as you know, against Man City on his debut. So we know he can do it. But I think under Nuno, I think we're going to see good things with him, and I think he's not just, you know, attacking, but everything. What I like about Bergwijn is he's not just his strength and the running on the ball and stuff like that. He's also making gaps for the other players. You know what I mean? He makes the runs, and then if you watch that, you see Son then cuts in, and he's got a good mind to the game and the ball, and that's important as well. And I was really watching Bergwijn tonight, and some of his running off the ball and stuff like that. And like I said, he had a few chances. I think he had a good game. I was pleased with Bergwijn, if I'm honest. So
I think you're absolutely right, Gary. Craig, let's come to you. I think that we're seeing a different Steven Bergwijn. Nuno Espirito Santo clearly likes Steven Bergwijn, wants to give him the chance. He had the chance during this summer to go and join Ajax in Holland, and Nuno wanted to keep him. And you can see that he has kind of installed this new confidence into him. And I think that he looks as confident now as he did when he first signed for us.
Yeah, he does. He does, actually. I thought you could see it last season under Mourinho. His confidence was shot, along with a lot of other players, must I say. You know, he was. When you look back on the Mourinho era, I just wonder how we're going to. I suppose we could look back on it now because it's done. But you know what I'm saying. When you compare it to the Nuno era, it will be interesting to see how you compare the two, because I don't know, players just seem a bit happier at the moment. You know, they put that last season behind them. You know, even though it was 5 points off getting Champions League, which is amazing. It was a poor season.
It's not only the players. You know, even these Spurs chats that we do on this channel, they are completely different. They, you know, the whole mood and the whole confidence in all of us is completely different.
Yeah.
And that's funny. Isn't it funny that kind of the manager's personality kind of bled over to your channel? You know, it's bizarre, isn't it? Because I feel that myself. Bergwijn is a really good example, I think, of a player that's turned it around in the summer. He seems to have got on the weights over the summer as well, a bit like Dele Alli. He seems to be quite ripped now, and he just needs a goal, and he's kind of like the complete player. As a manager, it must be a dream to work with. He seems to listen to what the manager wants, which you know you could argue all players should be like that, but we know some of them aren't. He seems probably very easy to work with. He does what he's told to do. You can tell by the amount he sweats that he works his nuts off every single game, and he tries. And I think, you know, as Spurs fans, all we want to see is players trying. Like Soldado wasn't the best, but we could see as fans how much he tried week in, week out. And, you know, I loved Soldado, and, you know, you just want best for people. And even Janssen, to a degree, he didn't work as hard as Soldado, but he was kind of loved by the fans, really. Yet if you've got a player that's not trying, then the fans are soon going to, you know, call him out on it. And Bergwijn, I think the fans have got his back now. They can see how much he works hard, see how much he loves playing for Tottenham. And all he needs is one goal, and the goals will start coming. You know, he hit the post again tonight. I mean, how close is he? You know, it was such a shame. But the goals will come. He'll get his first goal, and then, like buses, 2 or 3 will come. So, it's looking good for Bergwijn, I think, this season.
Yeah, is that the new saying on this channel now, Craig? The goals are coming.
The goals are coming. The goals are coming. I like it. Yeah, let's not use that T word. Let's not use the T word, eh? Not yet. Not till Christmas.
August, come on.
We've only just got to the group stage. I'm not going to be mentioning that T word. No, not yet.
What's the T word? Tourette's is coming.
Kenneth Ross on screen now. Chris, next beer in the Bricklayers is on me, up the Spurs. I'm sure that Gary, Craig and Gareth will be delighted that Kenneth will be buying the beers. Tom Wright on screen now. Gareth, let's come to you. Pochettino 4-2-3-1. We knew the system and the players. I don't know what Dele Alli is doing. Giovanni Lo Celso, talented players need to be up top. Bergwijn, new man. What are your thoughts on Steven Bergwijn?
I guess boys comparing him to Mane, is he? The new Mane? I don't know. I think
New Mane.
Bergwijn,
Sorry. Yes.
I don't know. I think that maybe he means new man. I'm not sure. I think with Bergwijn, but the boys touched on it. Definitely got talent. You mean that little bit of trickery against Wolves was quality. And we see when he come on, he does look like a confidence player, which is the only risk that if he does have a few bad games, is his head going to go down? But I think we talked about Traore earlier on, all the talent in the world, but just can't add that finishing touch. Because I think tonight, even there's times, for how much Bergwijn did well, his decision making at times lets him down. He should have passed, or he should have went on his left foot. He tried to come inside on his right foot. And maybe that's just down to a little bit of lack of confidence too, that he wants to get on his right foot all the time. But he definitely does, Nuno definitely does seem to fancy him. And I tell you what, this is his first big decision on the weekend because, they say you should never change a one-on team, but Harry's definitely going to come on. Brian Hill could possibly come on, although I don't think he will. But there's a call for bringing him on. Romero could also come on. So he's got a few decisions they make for Sunday. And football could change very quickly because if he does go with a team and they don't get the result, all of a sudden everyone's going to be on his back. But no, it's good that he's got decisions to make because as we spoke about last season, we didn't know what team was going to play in what game because Mourinho lost trust in players and so much uncertainty in the team. Whereas now it's a good problem for Nuno to have that there's so many players that seem to be playing well, especially in that attacking area, that he's got a few decisions to make on Sunday.
Gareth, what do you think Nuno Espirito Santo has changed in particular? Because Adrian writes on the screen now, confidence. That is the difference this season. What has Nuno changed to bring in this confidence?
I do think that he's a positive person. Though you remember that first interview that he's going to make us proud. He's not promising fantastic football or trophies. He's just come on, and I do think that the manager after Pochettino was always going to find it difficult, even though it was Mourinho. I think whoever was going to find it difficult because we were at that expectation level. Whereas now the expectations are quite lower, and he's come on at a good time. And they definitely, you can see in the games, they're a lot fitter. They're working hard. I don't think we've been that great to watch in terms of playing great football. Although we've had two difficult games against Man City, who are going to dominate the ball, and Wolves is always a tough game. They're very good on the ball, and it was quite a 50-50 game. This is the first game on Sunday where apart from the Europa League games, where we are going to have a lot of the ball, and there won't be as many gaps. We'll have to open Watford up with a little bit of trickery or a little 1-2 or triangles. So it'll be interesting to see what way we go about it and what team he picks. Does Højbjerg and Skip need to play together in this game? I'm not so sure they do. I think he could possibly play with Lo Celso and Dele with Højbjerg. Maybe Skip sits this game out. Maybe that's maybe Hirsch and Skip, but I do think that we need to be a bit more attacking with still being a bit reserved because Watford do have quality in the counter-attack. But as I said, they definitely seem to be working harder. You've seen them pre-season games that we were finishing the game strong. Against Man City, I thought second half we were very good. And against Wolves too, at the end, even though Wolves had a lot of the ball, we did carry a threat counter-attack. We could have scored 2 or 3 goals in that second half. We have a better finishing. So 100%, we're working harder and we're fitter, and you can see that. I think he's flexible too. He can change systems. I wouldn't be surprised if against Chelsea, especially, that we match Tuchel up and play 3 at the back, and he'll adapt the opposition as well as adapting to what we have as well. So I do think we've got a manager that we might have been harsh on him in terms of being critical. We wanted someone of a bit more reputation. But Nuno, a lot of our fans I spoke to were quite the opposite. They thought that Nuno was a great appointment for Spurs. Maybe it was just us thinking we should have got somebody bigger. But even before the Man City, a lot of people said to me, you'd be surprised. I think Spurs will have a good season.
Gary, let's come to you. August under Nuno Espirito Santo has been pretty decent so far, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And just going back to what Gareth said, I think the only person who I spoke to, he said, yeah, definitely get Nuno in, was the wife. But I don't know if that was like reverse psychology because she's a Chelsea fan. But the day after Mourinho got sacked, she goes, I think you should go in for Nuno. And we was all saying, no, we need Conte, we need Ten Hag. And I think, but the other thing, Chris, what I mentioned before was, I think he's almost got a free hit, Nuno, because the expectations with Nuno coming in as the manager alongside Paratici, as opposed to Mourinho coming in, the expectations are a lot lower. So he's almost got like a free hit this season. And I think if we was to get top 4 in the top 6, and if we was to get a trophy, I think that would be a great season. And if I'm being honest, I don't think any Tottenham fans are really expecting that. So I think in a way, he doesn't really have much pressure on him. You know, I think the pressure was on Mourinho.
If we keep winning games, the pressure's going to come.
Yeah, but, you know, who would have thought, let's be honest, who would have thought when Nuno came in, we'd be sitting here with, look, I discount last week because it doesn't count because that wasn't Tottenham. I'm being honest, that wasn't Tottenham that lost that game last week. If we'd sent the under-23s out there, they would have beat that side. So as far as I'm concerned, when Sky Sports are saying, oh, Tottenham lost, you know, the first leg, it weren't Tottenham. Did anyone truly think we would? I mean, I did say we would beat, you know, we beat Man City and Wolves, and I'm very confident we'll beat Watford convincingly as well. It might only be 2-0, but it'll be a convincing win. And I think a lot of Spurs fans probably didn't see that at the start of the season because it was all...
I did.
Yeah, I did as well. But I think a lot of them was like, doom and gloom. Is Harry going? Is he staying? Nuno, he was everyone's 4th, 5th choice. And, you know, what a difference it made us beating Man City. Not just beating them, but convincingly beating them.
Yeah.
And that's what really made kind of us kick on. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what, Gareth? As Gareth said earlier about not getting carried away, Gary, if we beat Watford on Sunday... and results go our way, you know, we could go into the international break top of the Premier League.
Yeah, and we will beat Watford. That I'm certain of. We will definitely beat them. It'll only be 2-0, but we will beat them, and it'll be the performance because it'll be a very good performance. But I do think we'll put out a very similar team, if not exactly the same as Man City, because it's rotation as well. You know, some of them guys have had a good game, yes, but we're playing again on Sunday, so. He's going to rotate, you know. I'm confident with Nuno. He knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, and really, Son's going to be like on firing all cylinders. He only did 20 minutes tonight. So he's going to be, what was he like when Son came on? He was absolutely itching for a goal. So we're at home again to Watford. Same team goes out as Man City. Yes, with 15, 20 minutes ago, he's going to make a few changes. But the starting lineup's going to be the same. And it's going to be a convincing win. And it's good. No, we're not going to get carried away.
We spoke about it when Nuno was appointed. We were on the show talking about it. He did create great unity at Wolves. The fans, the players, the staff, they were all together. And we've seen that against Man City. And to a certain extent, we've seen it against Wolves because they're the type of games that we drop points on or we tired. He seems to have fixed that fitness problem at the minute. They seem to be stronger at the end of the game. And the players who plays are all together. They're all fighting for the team. And that's against Man City. We bullied Man City. And that's the first time I've seen the Spurs team do that. The Man City, a lot of the time it was hanging on and getting a wee bit of luck. I thought in that first game against Man City, we were the better team. And that's not something we've said over the years. It's been maybe a little bits of luck going our way. But in that game, I thought we were very physical. And that softness that's associated with Spurs, I'm not saying it's completely gone. But I'm confident that we're going to be a lot harder to beat this year, even in games where we're not playing that well. Nuno will have the team well drilled and fighting for every point, honestly.
Yeah, and I think Craig mentioned it before in regards to Mourinho and Nuno about how, you know, you can just approach Nuno and his personality and his calmness. And you look at someone like Mourinho, could you imagine if your confidence is low and you're going in the office to Mourinho and you're having a conversation with him and stuff like that? Could you imagine what he's like? The whole time will be just spent talking about himself. You know, you can tell when you go in there with Nuno and you're hard on yourself over something. You can just tell he's the type of manager that's going to sit down and just listen to you, nice and calm, give you a bit of confidence. And that is what we're seeing with Bergwijn. It has to be. Yes, he hasn't scored, and I know there's going to be fans out there saying, well, you know, there's no end product, but I am certain that man is going to score. How close did he come tonight? Come on. You know, even look, Dele didn't have a great game today. He didn't have a great game, but even Dele has improved massively since Nuno's come in. No one can deny that, you know?
He's working a lot harder. He is working a lot harder.
Yeah.
Craig, let's come to you. I love to use that word, positivity, at the moment. I tell you what, there's a lot of positive vibes amongst the Tottenham Hotspur fans right now, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. The goals are coming. I think it comes back. I think it was a very, very valid point what you said, Chris, actually, about how these chats are a lot different to the ones we had last season under Mourinho, because I don't know, the mood's just lifted, hasn't it, with Nuno Espirito Santo coming in, and he wasn't my first choice, but I know the Wolves fans loved him. And that is it. Dazzling Dave, the fella you had breakfast with the other day up there. I'm sure he would agree that they were gutted when.
So wrong.
Hey, look, Craig, look at the reception. Look at the reception Nuno got on Sunday. They absolutely loved him. The reception he got was incredible.
He just seems like the sort of person you would go to for advice at work. He would probably make a good HR manager at work. He's the sort of guy that you could go to and talk to him about anything. That's how he seems. I mean, I don't know the fella. Whereas Mourinho is kind of like just a hard-nosed sort of like boss that doesn't take any crap off anybody and, come on, man up, He seems that sort of person. So I don't actually know. Anybody know how Roma are doing this year so far? Have they played many games yet in Serie A? I don't really follow the Italian league,
They won tonight. They won tonight 3-0 on the conference, but I haven't followed them now.
No, I think he'll do all right in Italy, actually. I just think that league probably suits him a bit better. But, the positivity is great. And let's not get carried away. I've said that so many times. Let's not get carried away. It is difficult because I think, like Gary, I'm quite confident that we're going to turn Watford over on Sunday. Albeit, you watch. This would be so Spurs, wouldn't it? We sell Sissoko and he scores against us if he plays. that would be so. He'll have an absolutely barnstorming game, run the midfield, and score a goal, which would be unbelievable to see as long as we win. I don't care. But actually, no, it wouldn't be good to see. But if we can keep the clean sheets win you not only games, but they win you titles. I'm not saying Tottenham are winning the title, by the way, but clean sheets. If we keep our clean sheets going, it gives the defence. It just makes them believe in each other, and it can only be a good thing, can't it? Not conceding goals, and that's the foundation you want your team to be built on. Solid defence, and we're not looking that bad at the moment.
No, comment on screen now for you, Craig, as well. We should be talking about Romero. What have you made of Romero's time at Spurs so far? I know it's only been a couple of games in, but what have you made of him? Yeah,
I wasn't massively impressed last week. I'm honest. In Portugal, I didn't think he had a particularly good game. I know he was just coming back, but I didn't read too much into that. Having seen him in the flesh tonight, and I actually watched him for a little while when they were on the attack a couple of times. He was always in the right place. He headed a couple of ways, and it was that calmness. And as a centre back, I never used to be a defender. Didn't know much about defending, if I'm honest. But I do know that a lot of being a centre back, a good centre back, is being in the right place. You watch Virgil van Dijk; he's always in the right place. And that is what I saw from Romero tonight. And do you know what I love seeing a centre-back stepping out with a ball and being confident enough to run with it and have a ball at their feet, because Højbjerg or Skip can step in and just come and say, you go, mate, you go and do your thing. I mean, he stayed up from a corner, whereas before you can guarantee under Mourinho, I'd be screaming at him to get back. He was almost playing as a centre-forward at one point tonight. So, I think he's going to be a good acquisition. The only thing that worries me is when you look at his record, and he got a yellow card tonight, that he is a walking yellow card. And we've got to be prepared that he's going to. He might even pick up 2 yellows in a game, or even a red. So I think the fans have got to be prepared for that. That's what you get with some players. A
lot of South Americans they play on the edge, don't they? They play on the edge of the game, very much so.
That was
absolutely on the edge.
Yellow, though. He shouldn't have got booked.
It was. Yeah, well, as I say, I couldn't see what happened from where I was sitting, and they obviously don't show the replay on the big screen, but it looked harsh. I thought he got the ball, but he's going to pick up yellow cards, and like you say, Gareth, Lamela was a bit like that, even though surprisingly, he didn't actually pick up tons and tons of yellows, did he, Lamela? Or certainly reds. He didn't pick up many reds, Lamela. So you're going to get that. It's a trade-off. If he's going to be bossing that defence, and we've got a centre back. Like if we've got our own Virgil van Dijk in a couple of years, that's going to be massive for Tottenham. Massive.
Yeah. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some transfer news that has come out tonight. Now, literally, as the game against Paços de Ferreira was kicking off tonight, Fabrizio Romano tweeted the following: Watford have opened talks with Tottenham for Moussa Sissoko. The agreement is possible. Work in progress for the outgoings on Spurs' side. Serge Aurier will be an option for Lille if Selic leaves. Still looking for a solution for Tanguy on Ndombele. And a latest tweet from Fabrizio Romano a short while ago. Atletico Madrid have opened talks for Selic as a new right-back. He's one of the options. Tottenham have received an approach from Lille for Serge Aurier in case Selic will leave. Tottenham are also progressing in talks for Moussa Sissoko to Watford. It is now close. Gareth, let's come to you. Surely it is the right time for these players to leave the club, isn't it?
100%. It really looks like Sissoko's close from like even the reports from the Watford side as well. Seems that they're very confident the deal can be struck. But I just hope that hopefully not before Friday, because he could win that starting team on Sunday. I know, but just like him, but I'm sure Spurs will hold back until after the weekend. But no, 100%. He's on 95,000 a week, so that's a lot of wages for a player that's not going to feature. And as you say, it has time to freshen it up. So if he moves on, we know Aurier as well. If he can move on, then Ndombele one's going to be. It's going to be tough because Spurs are going to want the money, near enough the money they paid for him, which is going to be difficult. But I could honestly see him maybe going out on loan with one of them options or obligations. If Nuno really doesn't want to use him, and he's on a lot of wages too, he's on £200,000 a week. And just the way Nuno's teams are they work hard, and I just don't see it with Ndombele.
I think it's very fair to say, though, Gareth, it's pretty obvious, isn't it, that Nuno Espirito Santo does not want to use Serge Aurier, Moussa Sissoko, or Tanguy Ndombele. They haven't featured in any of these games. Yeah,
no, it's obvious. And I think he's been questioned a lot about Ndombele because he's more seen as a. I think we know about Aurier and Sissoko that they were on their way out, but the Ndombele one's been a bit of a surprise. So it's all sort of come out since that Man City game. He didn't feature in pre-season, but there was a lot of cover stories about his wife having a weigh-in and stuff, and it's obviously whenever he talks about it, he really brushes it off. He never really says that he wants him to come back, and you just know to look at him. He's not going to be the type of player Nuno wants. And we talked about Lo Celso, about his talent. This boy has got all the talent in the world. For me, Ndombele is as gifted as a player you're ever going to see. You only have to look at the teams around that's looking at him. They know how talented he is, but as much as I want it to work, I have resigned to the fact that it's just not going to happen from Spurs because Nuno's not going to play him, and we have to back Nuno. So if Ndombele moves on, then so be it. It could come back to haunt us, but I just don't see Ndombele being that type of player wherever he goes. He's going to be a luxury player, and I think the Premier League's changed a lot. We talked about Liverpool. They didn't play with number 10 under them first few years under Klopp. Now they're talking about changing now, but he always said that his press was better than any number 10. And he played with the three men in midfield and the three attackers. And everybody worked hard, even the strikers, even the forwards. He scored all them goals, they work hard. And Nuno's team's going to be the same. You look at Bergwijn, Lucas, and Son. They're absolutely running himself on the ground against Man City. And Ndombele is going to play an even bigger role in midfield if he's going to play. So he's not going to play him. So if we can get anywhere near the money we paid back from, I think he'll be moved on. But honestly, I don't see it happening. So I could, and because of the wages he's on, it wouldn't surprise me if he was moved abroad on a loan deal with an option to buy or something, because he can't be lying around with 250 grand a week not playing, because he's no use to anyone, and his value is only going to go down that way. So it wouldn't surprise me if he went out and loan, lads. Just keep an eye on that one. I could see him going abroad on loan.
Gareth, now in the next 4 days or so, what do you realistically see Tottenham Hotspur doing? Do you think that we will be signing any more players?
Tell you what, lads, I absolutely love deadline day, right? I absolutely love it, and we haven't been involved in one for a while, but I do think we're going to be the most involved team. I can see at least two coming on, because I was actually a wee bit skeptical, but now this talk about Sissoko going, that looks pretty obvious. He's going. Aurier looks like he's going as well. So then players are going to need replaced. I think Aurier going will be the trigger for Tomiyasu, because I do think that deal is just a matter of Spurs getting Aurier out. The deal with Tomiyasu's done. I think it's just a matter of fact we negotiate way longer. They make sure we get that done, but it does look around 17 million, and I think we'll probably get maybe between 10 and 15 for Aurier. So I do think that one will go through. It looks like this lad from Barcelona could be coming on. Now, again, I'm not so sure. I don't know much about him, but obviously looking through Twitter, people are getting very excited. But it's maybe just the fact he's played for Barcelona. He's been talked about as the next big thing. But he certainly looks like that one's close as well. But again, I'm not sure if that's going to be a summer signing to Sarr, where he's one for the future. And they're just maybe seeing an opportunity to get him on now. But if Sissoko moves on, and certainly if Ndombele moves on, I do think you'll see another midfielder coming on, because we are quite short in that area then. If you look at players that can play in this number 6, number 8 role, because we were saying about Lo Celso, we don't really see him as that role, so that would only leave Skip, Højbjerg, and Winks. I don't think Winks is in favour, to be honest, so I could definitely see somebody coming on there. And also a striker. We've only got Harry Kane up front. So if anything was to happen, they have no song can fill that void. But it's a lot of pressure to put on Scarlett then if he has to come on. We've not replaced Vinicius. So no, I do think we could at least see 2, maybe even 3 coming on, Chris. So it could be an exciting few days.
Gary, same question to you. Surely, like Gareth just said there, Gareth Bale went, Carlos Vinicius has gone back, they've gone back to their respective loan clubs. Surely we have to replace some of these players to come in. But I think at the moment, with Tottenham doing so well during the month of August, it's very difficult to say that we are crying out for something because we haven't needed it in the last couple of games, because we've coped very, very well, particularly in defence as well. We've kept 3 clean sheets out of 4 competitive games so far, and we all go on about defensive reinforcements, but surely we have to sign some more players because, of course, last season, we all know, in November, we were sitting top of the league, everything looked rosy. And then so many defensive errors led to all of these goals being conceded. And then ultimately Tottenham falling out of the Champions League places, falling out of the Europa League places, and then going into this brand new competition, the Europa Conference League.
Yeah, well, look, we're doing brilliant at the moment, but it does kind of reel you in with a full sense of security. But Aurier is always going to be Aurier. Sissoko is always going to be Sissoko. Doherty is always going to be Doherty. And Winks is always going to be Winks. And that's never going to change. And that's what we need to remember. We're doing really good at the moment, but them players are never, ever going to be any more than what they are. The thing that really, kills me, and Gareth touched on it, is Ndombele, because that's a real tough one, because there is such a technically gifted player there. And, show reels and stuff and YouTube things can be so dangerous, because I'm sure we've all watched him, when we signed him, and he's unreal. And was it Sheffield United, that ridiculous goal he scored? That was just absolutely bonkers. He's a great player. But look, a bit like Aurier, if they make it known that they don't want to be in the club, and look, I heard rumours with Ndombele, what's pushed him over the edge was being left out in the Carabao Cup final and Mason playing his mate, Harry Winks. Well, okay, I'd be annoyed if harry Winks played before me nan played, and she don't even play football, so I get that. But if you're Ndombele and you're on £235,000 a week and you're a gifted player, ain't you going to let your football do the talking? Surely when that season starts, pre-season, training, everything else, knocking on that door, saying, look, give me a chance, give me a chance. There's more than what we've seen's going on. His attitude is just not in the right place, and I think he just wants to go, and he's made it quite clear. And I think Nuno's the manager is a very fair manager, and I think if Ndombele knocked on that door, like we saw in the documentary, I think it'd be a similar thing. I think Levy and Nuno and Paratici would be there saying, look, listen, we want you, and we believe in you. But I think it's got to the point now where Ndombele just wants to go, and look, maybe part of that is because of his mates are going, Aurier and Sissoko. And if a player doesn't want to stay because his mates are leaving, what does that tell you? Do you know what I mean?
His attitude's shocking, to be honest.
Yeah, and you know what, Gareth? It's a real shame, because he is, all the players that we're touching on, he's levels above all of them players. And we know that, but we can't keep a player in our team who's on like $250,000 a week, who's making it, obviously doesn't want to play for the team. And it just doesn't look match fit. It just looks like his diet is, I think he's eating more sweets than me, Chris. It's absolutely madness. Honestly,
do you know what though, Gary? Tom writes a comment on screen about Ndombele. We all know that if Ndombele leaves Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, and we all know, all 4 of us have said it, Ndombele has, fantastic ability. We all know the frustrating thing will be if he leaves the club, he will then go on to be a very, very special player, a world beater in football. And that is the frustrating thing. But it hasn't worked out for 4 managers. Pochettino, Jose Mourinho, Ryan Mason, and Nuno Espirito Santo. What is going wrong? How does somebody get the best out of someone like him?
when I come in, Pochettino didn't play him initially at the start, right? Then Mourinho didn't play him initially at the start. Then Mason didn't really play him at all, and now Nuno hasn't played him at all. And I do think his biggest problem is himself. So we can talk about, Barcelona, Man City. He could go there, and you know what? If he decides, I'm going to work hard and I'm going to play, then you know what? He is going to be a player. But I just don't see it. You see some of the training pictures during the summer. I think it was especially during the lockdown when the players were getting fit for the restart. It was 30-degree heat, and he was wearing a hat and a pair of tracksuit bottoms. And you're thinking, right, even stuff like that would put me off a player. Then we things, and you're thinking he just looks lazy, never match fit, doesn't work hard, poor attitude. He's at the minute, and to be honest, when he was playing, he was doing it in like 5-minute spells. As you say, you watch Twitter and YouTube, the boy looks unplayable. Yeah. But for all the hassle he's given us, is he really worth it? With Harry Kane, of course, all that was going on, but Kane's worth it, and he's coming back, and we know he's going to knuckle down, and he's he's a club legend in my eyes. Endon Kelly hasn't got that status, so in my eyes, hasn't worked out. If we get any more of the money, see you later.
And just quickly, Chris, going back on what you said, like when you said we all know he's gonna leave Tottenham and he's gonna smash up, and I don't deny that. I think he will, but it's a little bit like Lamela. Like I'm not surprised Lamela's gone overseas and scored goals, but Dombele will go to a French league and he'll look amazing in that French league because that's the pace he'll want to play at. I think if all four of us had a race, we'd all seem similarly quite fast. But if you put us up against Usain Bolt, are we going to look fast? And I think that's what you've got to remember with the Premier League and with the French League and everything else and with Dombele. He's not suited for the Premier League. It's just too high paced, the fitness levels. And I think deep down he knows that. He is a gifted player, but in the right league. And I don't think it's the Premier League. And it's a real shame.
100%.
But I think that is the problem.
Gary, just want your thoughts on players that you think Tottenham Hotspur could possibly sign in the next few days before the transfer window closes, and what do we really need?
Oh, do you know what? It really depends who's going out. I mean, a lot of people have met. I'll just touch on Traore because, Craig, I think you're a fan of him. I'm not sure where you are with him, Gareth, or you, Chris. To me, he's very similar to Bergwijn.
Yeah.
So I'm a bit like, do we bring Traore? I'm a little bit sitting on the fence with Traore. So I know, Craig, you want him in. Gareth, do you want Traore in or?
No, I don't, to be honest. I'm not a big fan of him. I think he's very wistful. But to be fair, and to be honest, I think we've got enough players like Traore. I think we've got Lucas Moura, we've got Son, and we've got Bergwijn. I think we need a number 10 or a striker type of player. I mean, there's talk about Awar from Lyon. There's talk of him being available for around 20 million euros. I think
is that how you pronounce it? I often wondered how you pronounce it.
Awar. I mean, I think that will be a decent. Keep an eye on that because it seems that Lyon want to cash in whilst they can on him. And I do think he wants to play in the Premier League. He nearly moved to Arsenal last season for big money. It didn't quite happen. And, it wouldn't surprise me if Ndombele was used as some sort of midwit and him going there for a season or even like a swap loan. Honestly, it's a strange one though, Gary, because who would have thought 2 days ago that Ronaldo could be going to Man City and Mbappe could be going to Real Madrid? And to be honest, we Paratici.
And then what they're talking about, is it 30 million for Ronaldo?
And see, Paratici, this boy's got contacts everywhere. This boy has got. See, he will not stop.
Yeah.
We're going to be linked with every player between now and Tuesday. Honestly,
I think this transfer window here. I think Sissoko is out, Ore is out. I don't know if we're going to get a loan deal or get Dombele out by the end of the month. I can't see it if I'm honest with you. But I think Sissoko and Ore will be gone. And I think the one signing we've got to bring in a striker. The fact that Harry Kane has stayed now, everyone's forgetting about the fact we still need another striker. So that is probably should be our main focus. And I think bringing in someone like Traore is not the right one for me, if I'm honest. But Craig, I hear what you're saying. He's big, he's got the pace and everything else. And again, I think you're right. Alongside Son and Kane, maybe, the final product might come. But me personally, I just don't think he's the right fit. But we do need a striker in. And like what you said, Chris, the problem is we've got a full sense of security at the moment because we're thinking, well, if you went back last season, everyone wanted Sanchez's heads. Everyone wanted him out. But we're not really mentioning Sanchez out now because he started the season really well and he's looked pretty confident. So it's a difficult one, and we're going to need those sort of players in Europa Conference and the FA Cup early rounds and Carabao. But for me, Aurier, Sissoko out and a striker in.
Sorry. That's the one name we haven't talked about. It's actually was mentioned a lot on Twitter. Was that lad McKenna from Juventus? Seems to be a lot of rumors about him today. So I don't know what there's a lot of things he can play. He can play out wide or he can play in midfield. So and we do know we Spurs like the dynamic players that can play in different positions. So he could be another one that comes in. I'm not sure, but I haven't seen a lot of him to be honest. I don't know much about him.
I just feel like we're saturating midfield wingers, just getting all out and out striker. Do you know what I mean? We're going too much. You know, like if we get Traore and you got Traore, you know, with Bergwijn, you got Dele, Lo Celso. It's just, you know what I mean? Just don't think it's priority.
I think the priority has to be defence, and I'd be very, very surprised if the next few days we don't sign a right back and don't sign another central defender. I think that is absolute key. And I've said on this channel many, many times about the whole thing about Danny Ings. I think that for £25 million, I think that Danny Ings deal is an absolute snip. I really, really do. You know, guaranteed goals. And I think Danny Ings would have played a number of games for us. You know, he wouldn't have been, you know, what people use that term backup. I don't think he would have been a backup striker. I think he would have played an awful lot of games for us. And I just think £25 million in today's market, Premier League experience, I think it's a great deal for Villa.
How was that deal done and kept so quiet?
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Villa are quite good though. Villa are very shit at that.
Looking at a player, there's talking like everyone, even me mum's ringing me saying, "Oh, you're in for this player." Everyone hears about it. Like they got him with. It was like 7 o'clock one evening, bang. That was it.
They nicked BND off Arsenal too, under their nose as well. They defense very, very good, Villa.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Chris, 25 million in his you know, let's just say his debut goal, and well, it wasn't his debut goal, Grealish, but Ings' debut goal in comparison to Grealish's goal. I mean, it just speaks volumes, doesn't it? You know, 25 million and 100 million, and one falls off him and he falls over and then it goes. And then, I mean, that was some goal by Ings. I mean, such a shame. Such a shame. That he is heights ahead of Traore for me. You know. But
Craig, let's come to you. Right at the start of this chat, you wanted to talk about transfers. You wanted to talk about Traore. Now is your opportunity. What realistically do you see Tottenham doing in the next few days before this transfer window closes?
I'm kind of in your camp, Chris. I think it's important that we bring in defensive reinforcements. I mean, I'll say I'm a fan of Adama Traore. I'd love to see him come in, but if you give me a choice between defensive reinforcements and more forward-thinking players, and I had to have one or the other, it would have to be defence. But I would personally like to see a Kyle Walker style right back, somebody who can get up and down the pitch if needed.
You don't want much, do you?
Well, I actually don't think it's that much to ask for a right back that's an attacking right back. You know, where
Max Aarons.
Max Aarons. What happened to him? Well, you know,
that there was been him for a long time, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Or Tariq Lamptey from Brighton. I mean, he's got to be gettable, surely. And perhaps another centre back. Although, you know, like we've talked about before, I'm actually quite encouraged by the way we've started the season with our centre backs and the fact Joe Rodon's still to come back in. I think I wouldn't be that much of a disaster if we didn't get another centre back in. You know, and the January transfer window, albeit Steve Hitchens says he hates it, you know, we've still got the opportunity to get another centre back in January if we need it. Absolutely right back, but striker, I would love to see us get another striker in. Again, if you give me a choice between Traore and a striker, I agree about the Danny Ings thing. That was just a ridiculous deal. We should have just gone through. But to be honest, what I'm annoyed about in a way, we had a deal in place for Lautaro Martinez.
He would have been the
Apparently
one.
that was all agreed. Why did we waste time and not just get it done? There must have been rumours about Lukaku going out the door. I'm sorry, there must have been rumours. Or did we think Kane was going to go and they didn't want to spend that money until they were sure? That could be a reason. But you know, let's think like a big club. I think we're going to see a big name come in before Tuesday. I do. I don't know what position that's going to be. I honestly don't, but I think there'll be a name come in that we don't have to Google to find out who he is. In the words of Danny Rose.
I think Tuesday night's going to be a late night. Honestly, I think we're going to have that excitement.
I hope so. I hope so.
What makes you think that?
I just get that feeling, that we're going to be busy right up until then.
Yeah, absolutely. Gav's spot on. I've just got a feeling, Chris, that there's going to be a name coming. I'm not going to say it's going to be a Ronaldo or a Messi or anybody like that, but it will be a name that will make us Spurs fans go, "Oh, I'm happy with that one." I just think Fabio Paratici is doing the business in the background, and that there'll be something come out of left field that none of us have heard about yet. And I just think there's something going on. Something must have been said to Harry Kane as well, saying, you know, how long are we going to tell this fella that we're going to build the team around him? You know, there's just something. I can't put my finger on it. I just think, and I've got no actual basis for saying this other than a feeling. I just think we're going to be getting at least certainly one name in, and possibly 2 or 3 other signings. Probably 2. Let's be fair. Let's say 2. So 3 in total. That's my prediction. I hope I'm right.
Gareth, let's come to you. I just read a comments of someone saying that we've got 5 centre-backs at the club. Why do we need any more? Tom writes on screen now, I think we have enough cover at centre-back and wingers. We have to sign a striker. Should have got Tammy or Danny Ings. You know, with the fact that we do have so many defenders at the club, you know, is it the fact that all of us fans don't have confidence in them and don't think that they are good enough? Because as we've all said on this channel, and even I've said in the last couple of games, you know, players like Eric Dyer and Davinson Sanchez, like particularly Eric Dyer, he's looking like a real leader so far this season. So do you think that Nuno is very confident that he can get the best out of these players, and we don't actually, necessarily have to go out and spend on others?
It's hard to know, because from the start of when he came in, it was pretty evident that Sanchez was one they wanted to move out. I don't know where his opinions changed on him over the last few weeks, but they do really seem keen on this Tomiyasu, and he can play as a centre back as well as a right back, so flexible that way. You're going to need at least 5 centre backs, because if one gets injured, you need your 2 for the Premier League and 2 for the Conference League and Cup games. And I think you'll see one. I think you'll see one defender come on, and it'll be Tomiyasu, and he can play as a defender and right back or centre back. So I don't think we'll sign him and another centre back. I think he'll be the one that comes in. The second player will be a striker, and then the third one that Craig mentions, the big name, is going to be. I think it's going to be a centre midfielder. I think that's going to be the one it's going to be the difference. I think if we get that centre midfielder, that creative player we all want, that big name that Craig talks about, that could be the difference between maybe 5th and 4th, or a trophy or no trophy. I think that could be the big difference. But the one thing that Craig mentions about Harry Kane, Kane's not hanging around for nothing. There's definitely, he's been told something. Yeah, you can be sure that, and it's not
absolutely.
It's not 2 or 3 years time. It's this season. And this will be Kane's last season if it doesn't work out, because next year he's 2 years in his contract, and his value will go down a bit, and they will have to cash in. So this is it. If they want to keep Kane at the club forever, it has to happen this season. And I do think there's money there as well, and especially if Ndombele was to be moved out, there's definitely money there for a big deal. And you're seeing a lot of these signings as well. It's loan with obligation to buy in January or next year. So a lot of teams, and especially Paratici, he knows how these deals work. He's working around ways of finances as well, and installments, and pay 10 million now, you pay the rest of it. But like a Del Boy, but. No,
yeah, you could see him saying that, couldn't you? We'll pay you after the Joshua fight. That's almost that's what it will be. You know, let's sell a few more burgers. Yeah, let's sell a few more burgers, and We'll pay you after the transfer window shuts when we've got a few more quid in the kitty. I'll tell you what, Chris, just very, very quickly. Sorry, Gareth.
No, you're right.
I had a burger at Tottenham tonight, and it was not a patch on that MK Dons burger we had. Honestly, it was revolting, the burger at Tottenham tonight.
That burger in MK Dons was lovely, wasn't it?
It was. I would. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If it goes south at Tottenham, I'm going to be an MK Dons fan just so I can go there and eat their burgers.
That burger was and I think it was only about £4.50 or something, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. The Tottenham one was
tenner.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was £7.50, including chips that were a bit cold. I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, the serviettes were £1 each.
That's ridiculous. I asked a woman for a serviette, and she pointed at this thing that had a fork, a knife, and a spoon in it, and one serviette, and it was in a. I guess it's kind of COVID ridiculously, but you had to rip it open.
Yeah.
And you had one, so just give me a serviette. You know, Jesus. Anyway, sorry.
Getting back to the original point about Dyer and Sanchez. There was one moment against Wolves where Dyer ran out with a ball and got caught in the halfway line, and you're panicking right away. So these players won't change overnight. There's going to be that sort of heart in your mouth moment with Dyer, with Sanchez. And Nuno's not stupid. He'll know that, and he'll know not to judge it on 2 games. He'll have seen the players in training, pre-season, and he'll have watched videos before. He'll have an idea of what he wants. So there's no way he'll be judging it based on these 2 games and thinking, right, we can keep Sanchez, we can keep Dyer, and that's enough. No chance.
Yeah, Craig. TJ Davis says, you've got to go for the sausage rolls instead. I love it how someone come up to me earlier at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and said, Chris, thanks so much for your channel. It's very, very informative. And I never, ever thought that we would have a Spurs chat talking about pick and mix and burgers, sausage rolls. We cover it all on this channel. It's absolutely superb.
The pizzas are right. The pizzas
Chris,
aren't bad. I have
a video on the Spurs food. How would that go down? I'm fat enough as it is.
Yeah.
I've not had my dinner yet. I'm having it afterwards.
Wow. I just want you all to give your thoughts very quickly on the Harry Kane news. I know you touched on it there, Gareth. Do you think this will be Harry Kane's last season at Tottenham then?
It'll depend on how the season goes. But there's talk about a new contract, but I don't see a new contract being signed, because if he wants to sign a new contract, it'll be a clause, and Levy won't be a clause, because that'll take the power out of his control, and we know Levy's not going to surrender to that. So I think he'll just stay on the same contract, and next summer they'll revisit it. If he wants to stay, it'll be because we've done really well and he'll see a future. But if not, it'll be, look, 2 years my contract here. You can either sell me now, or within another year my value is down again. I think next year you'll still get it near enough 100 million from him if he has another strong season like he did. And we aren't any further forward, you still get 100 million from him. And you know what, at 29, that'll be a good deal for Spurs too still. So I don't think we can lose out in this deal financially, but obviously personally we want Kane to stay forever. So let's just hope it's a good season and he signs a new contract, and that keeps him here. He's 33, 34.
Gary, let's come to you. I'm absolutely delighted that Harry Kane put out that announcement, and of course delighted that he scored a couple of goals tonight and he's officially back, etc., etc. Looking forward to seeing him playing in the Premier League on Sunday. A lot of journalists seem to pick up on that one word out of that statement, of him saying, I'm playing this summer. Yeah. What do you read into that?
Look, I think it's quite apparent if we don't get top 4, and if we don't, get maybe to a final or win a trophy and stuff, yes, there is a possibility next summer he could go. I do think he's going to get a new contract. Obviously, there's going to be a clause in there. I've saw stuff about his wages might go up to 400,000 a week. I mean, to be honest with you, if he stays, put him on 400,000 a week. I think he's worth it in comparison to some of the players, what they're earning. When you think Sissoko was on 100 grand a week, then Kane's worth 400, isn't he? Let's be honest about it. So I personally think if we got top 4 and didn't win a trophy, I think he would probably still stay, because Champions League football for him would be a big important thing. But if we got top 4 and won a trophy, I'm pretty confident he finishes his career at Tottenham. But I think it will rest on where we finish at the end of this season.
Yeah.
Craig, let's come to you. Very silly question, but you know, it's great news, isn't it? It's you know, you delighted that he's staying?
Yeah, of course. It was funny. My wife rushed in with her phone when that news broke, and like I read it, and I was like, I just felt like jumping up and down. It was like the best. It was like, you know, having a small win on the lottery. That's how it felt. Not that I've ever had a small win on the lottery, but you know what I mean. It was just fantastic. It was almost like a weight lifting. I don't know how you guys felt. It was, and you know, this club and football shouldn't affect your life as much as it does, but I think we all agree, and everybody watching this channel, it does affect their lives. It's been a massive part of their lives, especially during the last 18 months when really none of us probably had much else to worry about other than COVID, if that makes sense. You know, I know it sounds stupid saying that, but football's kind of kept a lot of people going, and it means something. And Harry Kane committing to the club is just fantastic. Going back to what the question you asked Gary about the wording he used, and I'm staying at Tottenham this summer. I was thinking about this, but what else could he have said? If he'd said, I'm staying at Tottenham, people would have asked, well, how long are you staying at Tottenham? If he'd said, I'm staying at Tottenham for another year, people will automatically think, oh, he's off next summer. So how the hell was the guy supposed to word it?
And you can't say forever.
He can't say I'm staying at Tottenham forever, because that's you know, he's not going to say that.
No.
What I would love to know, and I'm sure like all of us would love to know, what has gone on behind the scenes, what was said. It would be lovely to know that, and I'm sure one day when he publishes his memoirs, that will all come out. But I think we just have to appreciate him while he's here, but more importantly, the club have got to build around him, and I hope he's been made promises that are going to be perhaps kept this time. And I am convinced, absolutely convinced, he's a man of his word as regards what he said all those years ago. And he said, as long as the club are progressing, I'm happy to stay. And I think I agree with what Gary said. If we finish 4th or higher, he'll be with us next season. And I wouldn't be surprised to see, even during this season, another deal of some description being put on the table. I think if we win a cup, he'll stay, as long as our league form isn't gone, you know, right down the pan. As long as we're going like that, an upward trajectory, you know, I think hopefully we've hit the bottom now. We plateaued and we're on the way up. Let's hope so, because won't be lost on Levy and the board that, you know, I don't know how close we came to losing Kane. You know, was it this close, or was it a bigger margin? Was Daniel Levy standing firm, but was he in the back of his mind thinking, crap, you know, we're going to lose him, and what is that going to happen? It'll be interesting. If he does sign a new deal for £400,000 a week, then you think, well, it wasn't necessarily about trophies, Harry's going then, because he's just taken a load more money. So, you know, swings and roundabouts. Of course, I want the guy to stay at Tottenham for as, you know, I want him to be a Gerrard. I want him to be a Giggs. You know, I want him to stay. I want him to be a one-club man and break Jimmy Greaves' record, break Alan Shearer's scoring record, and hopefully win a trophy with Tottenham, because I think it's not going to. He would say this, I'm sure. It wouldn't mean as much winning something at City. It really wouldn't. We've said it on here before. It wouldn't mean as much to him. It would mean so much to him winning a trophy with Tottenham. And let's hope that we push on this season. And there's just more smiles all round all season on this channel, in the Spurs dressing room. You know, more smiles from Kane and all the other players. There seems to be heading that way. I think he looked a lot happier tonight. It almost seemed like a weight had been lifted off him. At least he knows what he's doing. And, you know, I did see him looking up at the stadium, actually, when he walked out. And I'd like to think a small part of it was thinking, I don't want to leave here. This is my home. And, you know.
I personally think, Craig, that he felt that on Sunday, because I don't think that he expected to get such a good reception from the away fans at Wolves on Sunday. You could tell by the way that he looked over at the away section, it really meant something to him. I think, you know, we forget sometimes these massive sports stars are human beings, and as you know, I'm a bit of a golfer. I love my golf and a golf fan. Do you remember when all that stuff came out about Tiger Woods and his missus and everything, and there was a lot of hate on him, and he came over here for the Ryder Cup, and I remember the camera going on to him, and they were going along each player introducing them, and you could see as it got to Tiger, the guy introduced, and this is Tiger Woods,
and you could see on his face he was nervous. He was incredibly nervous, but the crowd absolutely gave him a massive reception. Obviously, what Tiger Woods did was very, very naughty indeed, you know. But you could see on his face, as soon as the crowd give him that applause and cheers, everything changed about his demeanour. And I think, like, you're right, Chris, that happened with Harry Kane. I think he thought, Christ, you know, after all I've done, all the bad press and everything, these people have still got my back. And then when the Wolves fans were giving me abuse, the Tottenham fans would think, hang on a minute. Yeah. We can abuse him. You can't. That's our player. That's our boy. And we're going to take care of him. And so, in a funny sort of way, the Wolves fans might have helped Kane stay. Does that make sense? Because it jolted the Spurs fans into saying, hang on, we can take the piss out of him and we can say what we want to him, but you ain't doing that. Harry, you leave him alone.
More than your club. That's what they were singing.
Absolutely. So you know, and wouldn't it be lovely to think some of the players actually watch this channel, because obviously Chris is very well known around the club. They'll all know. Yeah. And, you know, if Harry does watch this, I think he probably felt the love tonight and on Sunday. And we are so glad you stayed, Harry, if you're watching this.
Well, if he does watch it, he'll be thinking, why didn't Chris start at 11? I'm waiting 20 minutes for him. He's
probably like thinking I've got training in the morning.
I was just about to say that. It is now 1 a.m. So full respect to you three for talking to me about Tottenham at 1 a.m. You know, we've got over 500 people watching this live. So thank you so much to you for your support. Wow. I'm gonna ask you a final question, everyone, about the Watford game, our next Premier League game. Gary, let's start with you. Can we make it 3 wins out of 3 in the Premier League?
100%. I stick with what I said on the last show. We're going to beat Watford 2-0. It's going to be a very convincing performance, and we're going to be frustrated we didn't score more. But Watford will never look like scoring. They won't even be in the game. I think it'll be a 2-0. Kane will get one. I want to say Bergwijn, but I don't think he's going to score, and he probably won't start. So I'm going to go for Kane and Son. 2-0 Tottenham, and a very, very convincing performance. And I'm not getting carried away. I just truly think that's how it will be against Watford. You know, it will be very different when Chelsea comes to visit us and a few of the other teams. But Sunday will be a very, very convincing performance for us. So 2-0 Tottenham.
Do you know what, Gary? If Tottenham win on Sunday and, of course, Arsenal lose against the champions Manchester City, we could be 9 points adrift after 3 matches.
No, never mind.
I love it.
Never mind.
Just let it continue. I love it. I love seeing them suffer. I'm tuning in AFTV. I mean, that win they got yesterday, that's their levels. They're now going into the Man City game thinking they're going to get a 3 or 4-0 win. That's how delusional they are. And they talk about us as fans. I mean, do you know what I mean? You know, we do keep our feet on the ground fairly firmly, but they're just mental.
Well, Craig, let's come to you. Paul writes on screen now, Sissoko hat-trick. What do you reckon?
Well, as long as we get 4, he can score as many as he wants. You know, that would be so Tottenham. Like I said earlier, that would be so Tottenham. But I would imagine they wouldn't put this deal through, or have some in it saying, you know, oh, Sissoko can't play against us this season or whatever. I'm sure Watford won't care. To be honest, you know, Moussa Sissoko. Let's not forget. I mean, He's probably had more crap games than he's had good games, Sissoko. But there was a time when Sissoko was the first name on that team sheet. Let's not forget that he did have a good spell. He really did. So, you know, very unlucky handball in the Champions League final. But you know, he's always turned out for the club, Sissoko, hasn't he? And he was never one of my favourite players. But I wouldn't go so far. He's ever going to be a club legend or anything like that. I'm not saying that, but he tried, I think, and that's why the fans did actually. He won the fans round, didn't he? Under Pochettino, he did win the fans round. So, if he goes, good luck to him. Good luck to him. He's been a good servant of the club. So yeah, I can't see him getting a hat trick though. I'm going to go. If you want a prediction, Chris, I'm going to go 3-0 Tottenham. I think we're going to keep another clean sheet, and I think we're going to score a few goals on Sunday.
See, the confidence is very high. Danny Rose played for Watford the other night, got man of the match. Alexander writes on screen now. Danny Rose is back at Spurs. It was the real Ben Foster watching this channel earlier and commenting in the comments. So Watford goalkeeper Ben Foster watching us talking about Tottenham's performance tonight. Gareth, let's to you. How are you feeling about Sunday's match?
I wonder what Ben's prediction is for Sunday. Do you know what? I think it's going to be a tight game. I know the boys are very confident, but I do think our clean sheet record might go. I'm going to go for a 2-1 Spurs 1. I think we're going to come from behind the 1. I think it might be substitutes that get us out of trouble. I think Hill might come on and change the game. Because I can see him going with the same team, maybe apart from Kane coming on for Bergwijn. I might see Sean go back out the left-hand side, but I think he might play with Højbjerg and Skip. And that might be a bit too defensive, and we could end up going maybe not enough creativity. I think we might end up going, like, and Nuno teams are always second-half teams as well, so I think it could be a comeback one. Going to go for a 2-1 Spurs 1.
Can I just ask, after Harry Kane has said that he's staying at Spurs, and after he's played tonight, scored a couple of goals, he's gone off, and Tottenham have won their first 2 Premier League games. Does Nuno Espirito Santo now change it? Does he change the winning team in the Premier League? And does Harry Kane get into the starting 11 against Watford?
You see, this is the issue, right? There was a lot of talk around the time when Lucas Moura scored the hat-trick to get into the Champions League final. Does Harry come straight back in? But it's kind of like Messi at Barcelona, even when he's injured, and Barcelona won games, he comes straight back into the team. This is a big decision for Nuno, because if he picks the same team that's done the last 2 games and they don't win, and say Harry comes off the bench and changes the game, but we run out of time or whatever, he's going to be criticised. But then if we play Harry and the team doesn't perform, he's going to be criticised for playing Harry. So it's difficult. Results always determine what people think. For me, I would bring Harry back on because he does give us something different. And that's not me based on his reputation. I just think that he's our best player and he has to play. And that's just the way it is. Yeah. I don't understand. See, if he played tonight and he was terrible and he was well off it would be different. But he come in, he looked sharp. He was first half, he was the key to everything. He was pinging balls left, right, and centre. And Son a better player and Lucas Moura a better player. So for me, Kane comes into the team.
I think the easy way around that, Chris, is if he starts Kane, Tottenham go 2-0 up, like I said, and in the 65th, 70th minute, he brings him off. Everyone's a winner then, and I think that's probably what he'll do.
I think I'm with Gareth, actually. I think that, Nuno's got to start Harry Kane. I think he's our main man. I think the mood is very high. His confidence will be very high as well, particularly after the reception that he got tonight and on Sunday, and the goals as well. I think someone like Harry Kane, world-class player, you've got to put him in every single time.
Especially when he's just come out and said he's staying, and finally, like what you said, Chris, found his password on Twitter and he's come out and announced it and everything else. You can't now not start him. I mean, and it's very different, that still haunts me now, dropping Moura after he scored a hat-trick in the semi-final. I mean, but he was damned if he did and damned if he didn't, Poch, in that situation. But we've got a fit Harry Kane. He's just announced he's staying at the club for at least another year. Could be longer, could be the end of his career. He has to start. And then you bring him off after 65, 70 minutes or whatever, and
This is the type of game we need Harry as well, because Watford are going to be compact. And we need a focal point. There's not going to be that kind of space for the front three. So we need someone to create that space.
No disrespect to Moura, but with 20 minutes to go, you take Kane off and you put Moura on. I mean, I think Moura's going to be more happy than that than if he was to flip it and do it the other way round.
I think the fact that Moura started tonight, I think he'll definitely start Kane on Sunday now that that's all sorted out. I think he'll start Kane. I think he'll start Ali. I think Moura will be on the bench because he played tonight, and I think you'll see Bergwijn. Might even see Brian Hill getting a look in. I don't know. Interesting team selection for him.
It's hard because we're sitting here. We've had how many conversations and we still can't pick a team. So Nuno's got
would you play?
It's a great position for Nuno Espirito Santo to be in, though, Craig, isn't it? That the players are now knocking on the door, wanting opportunities.
100%. Would you change the ship? Do you think we need to play Højbjerg and Skip in this game? Do you think we can sacrifice one of them? They bring another attacker in.
I don't know, because he didn't play Skip tonight, did he? So was that? I mean, that's showing how far Skip's come. He's given him a rest tonight. That's how highly he values him.
Yeah.
Højbjerg, come on. Interesting. I don't know. It's an interesting point because he might just go with Skip and throw him in there. But you can't not play Højbjerg. So, you know, I think he'll still go with both of them.
The only thing I would say tonight about Skip not playing as well was we didn't really need two winks play with ourselves. So we didn't need a Skip on my winks. We only really needed one night as well because that team are always going to be so compact. Sit back. There wasn't going to be that trouble. I do feel that we have to force the issue on Sunday, and it's the first time that's happened. Man City, we were going to be counter-attacking. Wolves, we got that early goal, and we could counter-attack. This time we're really going to have to take the game to offer.
You know what?
Do you know what? Interesting. That's another thing I like about Nuno. You can't predict him at the moment, and I like that.
100%.
You know what's interesting? If we ever go to three at the back, if he plays with wing backs, to see Romero, presumably Dyer and Sanchez, how would that work as a three?
We will against Chelsea because you can't play with 4 against Chelsea. Look at Arsenal get ripped apart. You have to match Chelsea up.
I like Reguilon though when he's in. You know, I miss Reguilon tonight because Reguilon he started well and he's got so much pace and he's really positive. So you can't leave Reguilon out. He's got to start against Watford. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what we've all done for the last 10 minutes? It's just been positive. I love it. Absolutely love the streams at the moment. I really do. We're gonna end it there. I know a lot of people from different countries have been saying, "What's the problem? It's 10 a.m. here. It's 5 in the evening here." But here in England, it is now 1:10. We've all got to go to bed. I'm sure Gary's going to pick a dinner. Yeah, pick a mix, dinner, whatever you're doing, Gary. Craig's probably going to go and get another burger, having not enjoyed his burger at Spurs. But I can't thank you all enough for all of your comments tonight, everybody. And Gary, thanks so much for joining us again.
Always a pleasure, Chris. You know that, mate. And
Craig, thank you very much.
No problem at all. What a lovely evening. It's been a great week again.
Brilliant.
I'll tell you what, Craig, it's been a very different stream tonight than last Thursday when, of course, we lost the first tie 1-0. It's been very different. But as I say, I'm loving these streams at the moment. So much positivity. Gareth, you've brought so much positivity tonight. Thank you very much indeed.
Top man, Chris. Thanks very much.
Are you still you're still actively doing your YouTube channel? If you are, Gareth, tell everyone where they can find you.
Honestly, I haven't got started this year. See, we just lockdown finishing. It's been so hard to see with my coaching as well. It's very, very difficult. So I haven't really got it started again. At the minute, I'm really trying to focus on my coaching. So just going to try and, to be honest, I haven't stopped watching. I watch loads of YouTube, and I almost have podcasts, but not follow them. I'm always talking to people on videos. Like me and Gary, don't never stop sometimes. But no, it's very difficult. We coming out of lockdown and stuff. And when I was doing it, I didn't have my coaching. And trust me, that's why I never criticize coaches too much. Because honestly, it takes up so much time. See the planning, the training, the getting the games, analysing games. It's difficult.
Well, good luck with all your coaching, Gareth. You're absolutely delightful to come on here. So thank you very much indeed.
Cheers.
Let's hope that this August can be, can continue with this positivity, with these wins and these clean sheets. The Europa Conference League draw will take place tomorrow. No doubt that I'll be putting videos out about that. Lots of transfer activity I'm hoping for in the next, 4 or 5 days. Let's hope that Tottenham can offload a number of players who need to head out the door, players that don't want to be at the club. And let's hope that we can get a few more additions in to improve our squad for Nuno Espirito Santo to perhaps move us in the right direction and try and get Champions League football again. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please do like the video, put your comments in the comment section below, subscribe to the channel if you don't already. I'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.